Hi guys! So once again, I'm doing something a little bit different today. For one thing, I usually shoot my sewing videos probably about a month or two in advance before I actually get a chance to post them. But this one is being filmed on, Friday, June 7th. And I'm hoping to post it by the end of the weekend. I'm also not sewing today. I will be, but I'm also recording during breakfast instead of while I'm sewing, because right now is when I have time to record this. So the reason I'm making this video today is I had a major setback over the weekend, and I wanted to share what happened and what I did to handle it, I guess. I guess I wanted to share my process of how I got through it, just in case anybody else has a major setback. And I wanted to do this video while everything was still fresh. So here I am. And hopefully if anybody else goes through a major setback or hits a big bump in the road, hopefully this video can help them. And if not, this video will be waiting for me the next time I have a setback, because that happens. I just want to say real quick, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a life coach, I am in no way licensed to give out advice to anyone. This is all really just my thoughts and what helped me, in the hope that it may help somebody else. So on Sunday, we had a house fire. It was small, the damage was very minimal. We caught it early and everyone's okay. I say everyone's just two of us, but we're both okay. Our smoke detector started going off around 1:30 a.m. and we discovered that my laptop was on fire, which apparently is a thing that happens. It was on fire in my sewing room. So we're not exactly sure how it happened, because I honestly can't remember if it was plugged in or not. I usually unplug my laptop at the end of the day, but it may have been plugged in, it may not, but I really don't remember. I do know the vent wasn't blocked or anything. It was sitting on a table. It's not like it was on the carpet or on a couch or anything that would have blocked it. It didn't have any major programs running. It was just Google Chrome. And the laptop had only been running for maybe an hour and a half. It wasn't even on for that long. None of the things that you would normally expect to cause a laptop to overheat were in play. Luckily, we do know that we caught it pretty early. I had just been downstairs 5 minutes before the alarm started going off. And I was in my sewing room, I had to grab something. So we know that, if nothing else, the fire wasn't burning very long. We were very, very lucky, and we know how lucky we were. Like I said, the damage we had was minimal. Obviously, my laptop was in bad shape. Bad, melted shape. My cutting table has some burns in it. We have a couple of burns in our rug, because when Evan couldn't immediately put out the fire, he ran the laptop outside and stuff fell and put some holes in our rugs. My serger, which was on the table, was a little singed, but as far as I can tell, it's working okay, so it could be worse. What else? I had some muslin fabric that has some burn marks in it now, because I used that to put out the smaller fires that happened when Evan took the laptop outside. Honestly, I'm kind of glad I just had the presence of mind to not grab my white sweater, which was next to the table. I looked around and I found the cheap fabric first, so at least that happened. As far as we can tell, the only other thing that was damaged was one of my books, because we think Evan tried to use it to put the fire out originally. He doesn't actually remember doing it, but trying to put fire out with paper was probably not the best idea. Again, we were very lucky. I mean, once we assessed the damage and everything, we were back in bed in about a half hour. We weren't back asleep in a half hour, obviously, but the whole thing obviously did not take very long. The cleanup actually did take longer. We were cleaning all day on Sunday, and then I was sick in bed on Monday. The problem was I was supposed to start a commission on Sunday, and I was hoping to work on it for most of Sunday and all day Monday. I was hoping to get about 16 hours of work in, and I think I got maybe 2, if that. I was planning to do a week's worth of work within those 16 hours, so it really set me back. Alright, so now the question is, what comes next, and how does this apply to you, the person watching this video, who probably did not click on it to hear how we had a house fire? I did 4 things over the next 4 days that helped, and hopefully if you're having a issue Doing something similar will help you, or doing at least one of those things would help you. Who knows? The first thing I did was prioritize, and this had to be done a couple of times over the next few days. We had to figure out what comes first, turning off the alarms or assessing the damage. So we turned off the alarms, and then we assessed the damage. We took pictures for the insurance company. So that was first. After that, it turned into what's the most damaged, which in this case was my laptop, which again melted. The problem with the laptop is all my updated business files were on it. So we had to worry about bookkeeping, graphics, contracts, just everything new was on it. So our first priority after putting the fire out and turning off the alarms was to try and see if we could save my hard drive. We tried to get my laptop open. It didn't work because, again, it was melted. So the first thing we did in the morning was we ran the Geek Squad. And 15 minutes and one very destroyed laptop later, I was able to have my hard drive in my hand. Miraculously, it was undamaged. After that, next priority was get a new laptop and get all the files transferred from my hard drive. Luckily, we were already in an electronics store, so that was easy. So then we got home, and it turned into, okay, what's the next priority? And we decided that it was cleaning because soot was everywhere. Soot really travels. It was in the living room, the dining room. Obviously, it was in the sewing room. So we had to figure out what are we cleaning first and what's the game plan from here. So we tackled the sewing room first, obviously, because it had the most damage. And it was every surface. It was my tables, my desk, all my machines, my dress that I've been working on. Shout out to Silk Baron, who answered my 2 a.m. distress call, distress message. Thanks to them, I was able to get ashes off of my silk taffeta. And it worked like a charm. Luckily, I was able to get my laptop back on Monday morning. So when I was in bed for most of Monday afternoon, I was able to reinstall programs and test out to see if the files worked and to see if everything was still there. But honestly, during all that, I was still very stressed because in my mind, cleaning and sewing was a higher priority, and I wasn't doing that. The last thing I had to do, and honestly this was kind of the hardest thing I had to do, I had to go into work on Tuesday. I had to work a full day, knowing that my house was still a mess, knowing that I was a week late on my commission, essentially. Honestly, it was tough. I had a really, really, really rough day. I think my stress level was actually making me feel nauseous. I had a headache, and I think it was all just because of stress. So I got through this incredibly tough day. I went home and I walked past my soot-covered lamps and the blinds, and I started sewing because sewing stabilizes me. And at that point, my priority, even though before it had been to get the house as clean as possible, my priority in that moment was to stabilize myself. I had to get myself centered, and to do that, I sewed. So I got through the first part of the commission, and on Wednesday I felt a lot better, even though my house was not much cleaner than it was the night before. That kind of takes me to my next point, which is that you have to cope in a way that makes sense to you. I did a couple of things just to get through Sunday. Once we got home from Best Buy, the first thing I did was reorder the American Duchess book. Was that a high priority? But it made me feel a lot better knowing that I had a new copy in the mail. I also splurged a little bit and I went for the signed copy, so I got a little bit of an upgrade. So that also kind of made me feel better. The second thing I did to cope, and this may not work for you, but I made a joke about it. I went on to my personal Facebook page and I posted a picture of my destroyed laptop, and I had the caption, "Have you tried turning it off and back on again?" Through the comments, I was able to kind of ease myself into talking about it because I'd tell people what happened. And talking about it made me feel a lot better. You can even say that making this video is helping me cope because it's making me talk about it more and kind of relive it, which may not work for people, but for right now, this is helping me. It's helping me get through it. The way I coped may not work for you. You may want to take a break from a project. You may need to take a nap or a walk or go see a movie or play a video game. I'd be lying if I said I didn't play Sims 4 after all my files transferred. Of course, that was just to make sure that my save files was still there, right? The important thing is that you're able to just give yourself time to just cleanse your palate and move forward. Now, the third thing I did was, this is something I should probably do more often. I asked for help because my biggest concern after getting the laptop replaced was getting back on track with my commission. And honestly, I was completely stressed out about that. I think that was concerning me even more than the cleaning. I wanted to get back on track. Luckily, I married a very good man, and Evan is happy to help me out in the non-sewing parts of my life. What he did was he offered to take care of all of the housework for the next couple of days until I catch up. That meant cleaning the living and dining room by himself. That meant doing the dishes. That meant laundry. Usually we split the housework. Like, I'll cook, he'll clean, I'll clean the bathroom, he'll vacuum and dust, that kind of thing. But he offered to take on all the responsibilities of our household, and for that I'm very grateful. He also worked very hard to get my sewing table back to a better place, which I was very grateful for. He kept me very calm when I was having my delayed stress out. I didn't stress out over this until probably Monday and Tuesday. I'm very lucky to have him, but I also know that if I didn't have him, I would still have to ask for help. I would ask my parents or my extended family or some friends or coworkers I feel close to. I would have to just ask. Sometimes you need to do that. You need to admit that you're overwhelmed and see if somebody can help you. So that may be cleaning soot off of your lamps. That may be helping you meet a deadline. That could be just being a sounding board to vent to. Sometimes you just need a little bit of help with the shoulder to burden, and that's okay. The last piece of advice I would give for dealing with a setback is get back to work. Now, you don't have to do this immediately. Figure out your priorities. Cope in a way that makes sense to you. Ask for help if you need it. But once you've caught your breath, once you've recentered yourself, the best thing you can do is jump back on. It's not going to be easy, especially if you've had a major setback, because that may make you feel discouraged. It may make you question yourself. It might make you reassess the situation and just get that little voice inside your head telling you, why am I doing this? This is so stupid. Why am I doing this? The best way to silence that voice is to just do it. And honestly, usually, if I've been away from a project, the hardest thing for me to do is that first stitch. After that, I kind of get in the zone and I'm able to just go. Speaking of, I should get back to work. So I am going to finish my breakfast and get back to work. So thank you for listening to my ramblings. If you have anything to say, leave a comment below, and I'll see you next time.